Hey my sweet friends, it's Monique from Grace and Tattered Lace. We're going to make over this fun kit. This is vintage, primitive looking rabbit. It reminds me of an old like Peter Rabbit. I don't know why. I just get that feeling when I see this. Anyway, I used Dixie Belle paint in the color of Caviar to paint that board. And now we're going to make some stripes. I just used my painter's stripe, eyeballed it, and I'm making 3 different size stripes. We used cobblestone, weeping willow now, and we'll be using drop cloth next. I did make sure that I had all of those stripes completely dry before I put the paint down on top of them. And now I'm just using some of that drop cloth to go around. Now hang with me guys, because I'm not going to leave it like this. I know you're like, what is she doing? We're going to sand that down. Now we're just going to paint the bunny using that same drop cloth. And now I'm using a tea rose. That's a Dixie Belle color. Tea rose ballet slipper by Waverly would be really pretty on this as well. About the same color. And then I just used my same brush. Put a little bit in there for the ears. Now I'm not going for anything perfect because we're going to sand this, guys. And there's my new toy, that hand sander, electric sander. Got it on Amazon. It is so awesome. And look how fast I was able to sand this. I would never be able to do this with that gator tool. I went around all my pieces with that sander. Now we're going to take this down pretty low because we're wanting this to look very old and vintage. I'm remaking this. This was one that I made and showed you a picture of, and I had some requests for videos, so I'm making the video now. And now after I use the sander, I'm going to use my gator tool, and I'm going to use, actually I'm using a sanding block there, and now I'm going to use a gator tool. I'm using a variety of different grits with my sanding tools, you guys, because I want it to have a different texture look to it. So each one gave it a different look. Now I'm just using a wipe to wipe all the dust off. We'll do the same thing to that bunny, and yes, I wiped the dust off and put it right back on when I did that bunny. And I know it wasn't very smart. Okay. Now yep, we're going to use some wax. That's the Dixie Belle Best Dang Wax in the color of black, and we're just going to go around some of the pieces just to kind of blend it all in. So I just buffed it on with a little brush, and then you can see I use my finger to kind of blend it. Now this bunny is bigger, and I wanted to put the clear wax on first because, as I always tell you guys, it does help with controlling the wax. So I put on some clear wax and then buffed it off. I didn't really buff it off, but I buffed it into the piece. And then we'll go back with the wax. So you can see I'm just using my little blending tool. It's actually, I think, a makeup brush, an eyeshadow brush. Just going to go around the edges a little bit, blending it, adding it a little bit heavier in some areas. Now, if you guys don't like wax, if you don't like the look of that, vintagey look, if you think it looks too dirty, then by all means don't do that part. And don't sand it if you don't like that sanded look. Just here to give you some inspiration on how to use the kit, which, by the way, can be found at graceandtatteredlace.com. I believe this one is in the new items. Now, I just used the end of my paintbrush to give some eyes. And now we're going to paint some whiskers. All right, and once I got those on there, I did dry that with my heat tool before I'm sanding it there. So we're just going to sand it just to kind of blend it in with the rest of the look of the bunny. I didn't want it to be so stark. Oh, he's so cute. Just added a little bit more wax to kind of blend that paint on those whiskers in a little bit more. Just because I didn't want that paint to be so drastic and harsh looking. All right, now we're going to use a little bit of this Dixie Belle dirt. I think this is black. And just add just a tiny bit more grunge to this. I'm loving how rustic he looks. All right, now I have this wording that came from, oh my gosh, she is going to kill me. I do this every single time. Imperfect hand lettering by Danielle. Golly Moses. I will put the link in the comments of where it came from because I cannot believe I just did that. I probably just butchered her page name. I am using my stylus tool with the carbon paper and tracing the wording onto the board. I know it's really hard to see because it's black, but I did see it. I had some battles with my pens. I broke my other one and I'm trying to use one that I had in my stash, not my first choice. I did end up going over it just a little bit. And when you have this small lettering, it is very hard to get to, friends. But I did it. Anyway, there it is. I did sand it down, and it's because I wanted it to blend in with everything else the way I kind of had that vintagey look going. Well, hello there, spring is what it does say. I did not use the flowers. And now I'm just taking a piece of fabric and tying a little bow. We're going to put a little bow on his little neck there, and we'll add some greenery. I'm using some greenery, some of that berry bush that came from Hobby Lobby. Now, my understanding is, the last I heard, that this greenery was discontinued last year, but I'm hoping that now that spring is back, they will bring this back. Y'all say your prayers because I know everybody wants that greenery. Just added a little bit of hot glue there. We'll put a little bit of Excelsior. Now that's the coarser is Excelsior, right on the top of there, and we'll just put the bow right on the top. Unfortunately, you guys, I think I had to run outside, tend to Kevin and the machine, and I stopped my video and forgot to restart it when I did this tag. But I just took a piece of paper bag. I hand wrote the word bunny on it, put a little popsicle stick in there to stick it in there. And there we go, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.